Welcome to Unboxing What Matters, a podcast brought to you by Deraz. In each episode, we will unpack the opinions, topics, and big ideas that are inspiring and changing our world today. I am your host, Mimi Nicklin. Welcome to the show. Hello and welcome back to Unboxing What Matters. Today I'm here with Michelle Lee, who is the Vice President of Brand and Communications at Dubai Airports over in the United Arab Emirates. And we're going to be talking about how purpose drives growth in a multicultural organisation. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mimi. Thank you for inviting me. It's such a pleasure to be able to spend some time talking to you about multicultural leadership.
You're so welcome. I'm really excited about the conversation. There couldn't be a better team to be talking about this than yours, and a more important time in history to be having these discussions around multicultural leadership. So let's start with that, Michelle. What is this? What is multicultural leadership? How do you define it? And why do we need it in our workplaces today?
I'd say that our multicultural leadership can be defined as engaging and leading a workforce comprised of individuals from diverse cultural backgrounds. So I'd say that's our formal definition of multicultural leadership. And I think especially here in Dubai, we need it more than ever because of this diverse workforce we have here in the city. And especially at Dubai airports, we've got something like 123 nationalities. Wow. So it's very diverse. It's lots of different cultures. And it's really important to actually understand these different points of view when dealing in a highly cross-functional and complex organisation like Dubai airports, and where we have like real delivery, real-time deliveries that we have to actually get out there. Bags have to arrive on time. Planes have to take off on time. So I think it's the more important. It's very important for us to actually embrace multicultural leadership. And I think it's a process. It's what is important to highlight is a process that is crucial rather than the actual endpoint.
I mean, absolutely. Dubai is one of those cities where we have, as you said, way more than 100 different people sitting in our workplaces working together. But it's, of course, a city that is very much perceived as being fast growing, innovative, changing. So there is, and I'm sure at the airport as well, being the biggest airport in the world, there is a requirement for performance, right? For people to be able to perform within their roles. So in your experience, what's the role of individualism within this multicultural world? And as leaders, how do we ensure individual responsibility within such multifaceted organizations?
I think it's really important to encourage individualism because I think people bring different perspectives to the team and to the organization. And I personally believe that leads to a much better outcome when you actually celebrate different perspectives and harnessing the different perspectives that people are bringing to solve problems. And I think also what has been challenging, especially in cultures that have been highly corporate, is that there's been a corporate way of doing things. So we need to evolve to actually say it's okay to still do the way that we do things that are at a corporate level, but we're going to get a much better outcome. We're going to get a much more harmonious workplace, a harmonious culture. If people are allowed to be who they want to be or who they are, but still remain within the corporate sort of guidelines. But as long as you give clear directions and you have very clear expectations in terms of what the outcome needs to be, people can bring their individualism to that workplace to be able to achieve that. So I think as long as you have very clear expectations and you have very clear objectives, the journey as to how you actually achieve that is just as important in terms of this. And this is where individualism comes into it. And I think organizations are actually changing as a result of celebrating individualism more as part of that process to actually achieve results rather than doing things by the rule book or by the playbook.
I think you're right. And I think so many of us want to be able to feel like individuals, right? We want to be seen and recognized as who we are in the workplace. So obviously you're a leader, you've been a leader for a great many years, which we'll come on to, but how do you encourage individuality yourself with your own team? How do you ensure that people feel able to, be able to respond as an individual and take that responsibility?
I think it's actually providing them the autonomy and not actually encouraging them to embrace individualism. So encouraging them to be who they are, giving them that autonomy, having that safety net. You know, how I try to approach this is that I provide a safety net for the people to be able to express themselves and be who they are. And I'm there to catch them in case they fall, in case they kind of are off track from a corporate point of view. So I think it's taking a leadership approach where you're actually identifying that people are different. And my role as a leader is to ensure that I'm a safeguard in place for them to be able to feel safe about having the freedom to actually be who they want to be.
And it's such an important part of, I think, a lot of our listeners are across Asia Pacific. And as these organizations shift to being flatter, more multifaceted organizations, that individuality is so important. I mean, you've been leading very inclusive teams, I know, for over 20 years. And much of that has been in aviation. So let's talk a little bit about your current role inside the world's largest airport. I think it's very inspiring for people listening today. You know, what is it about inclusion that sets the way for growth of the brand, of your people, particularly in such a turbulent world? Why do we need it? How is that setting the path for the future?
I think here, I mean, if I reflect on my role here at Dubai Airports, I'm very fortunate to work in Dubai, which is a highly diverse city, and it actually is embracing inclusion. And I'm fortunate that our brands is kind of our Dubai Airports corporate brand and our airport brands, DXB and DWC, have a lot of people from different cultures. And actually we have a management in place that actually celebrate this inclusion as well. So I think for me in this current role, it's actually ensuring that we are working within the organization, working with my peers to say that it's actually okay to be from a different culture, is actually celebrating people's different perspectives in terms of how they're looking at things. It's also at an individual level, is that not only is it important to actually celebrate individuality, but it's also important to celebrate the cultures they've come from, because the culture that you come from shapes a lot of who you are, and actually shapes who you are when it comes to individualism. And as a manager that actually celebrates inclusiveness, is that actually understanding and celebrating the culture and the perspectives that they're coming from in order for them to bring the best to work. And at Dubai Airports, we've just launched a new kind of internal brand approach, which is called Bring Your Dubai-ness. And it's and Bring Your Dubai-ness is actually about encouraging our people to celebrate everything that's great about Dubai, but also everything that is great about themselves, and to bring that individual Dubai energy to work every single day. And again, that's a reflection of that individualism that I was sort of like mentioning about before.
I think that's a fascinating approach as well, because what you were saying there is connecting the individual's role with the role of the city or the country that they're living in. And for so many employees, that's critical to recognize that, right? Where they're coming from or where they're based as such a critical part of their context. And of course, for all of the people that are outside of Dubai, through technology, through digital, they're able to engage with these types of platforms today and recognize roles and teams of people across the world. So, we spend a lot of time talking about technology and the role of tech and the transformation of the consumer and traveler experiences, of course, in your industry. So what do you think that relationship is between technology and humanity, people, in the very fast-paced industry that you're working in? How's it changing?
Yeah, it's really good point, Mimi. There's been a lot of discussion about technology, and and from my point of view, technology is an enabler to enhance the travel experience. So it's very easy to get caught up with tech and get caught up with all the new innovation that comes with tech and everything and digital in that world that we live in at the moment. But at the end of the day, the industry that we're in, we see ourselves in the hospitality industry. We're pivoting from an infrastructure business to a hospitality-based business. And it is our people, we believe it is our people that are our biggest asset and our key differentiator. And I think in this current age, especially coming out of COVID, humanity and kindness is actually what sets us apart, or sets key brands apart, and is so important for the traveller. And just in terms of some of the examples that I could share about, possibly at a later date, could share about what our people did through COVID and repatriating a lot of stranded travellers at DXB, is the humanity and kindness that actually was what actually gives us the reputation that we actually have as not only the biggest airport in the world, but our ambition to be the best airport in the world. It's our service, it's our people. And to your point, technology will always be there and technology will always change. but we are all humans, and we all need to show that degree of humanity, especially to travellers that are coming through our airport.
I love what you said there about moving from an infrastructure business to a hospitality business, a business that's about guests and experiences. Do you think that's something that's shifting across aviation, or is that a very Dubai Airport's approach to the shifting industry?
I think aviation as an industry, airlines specifically, have always been very service focused and have been very people focused. I think for us at Dubai Airports, it's been a shift for us because we are the biggest international airport in the world, and we do move a lot of people, and our focus has been on moving people. But I think, especially as we emerge from COVID, the focus has been more towards people, and I think that's very much part of Dubai Airport's focus, which is aligned to very much what the rest of the aviation industry has been focusing on.
I mean, what a wonderful thing to be able to say that since COVID, there has actually been even more of a shift towards what you were saying earlier: humanity, people-led leadership, people's engagement, kindness. It's great. It's great to hear something positive is shifting in the kind of post-pandemic era. When we talk about making shifts, let's talk about women in the industry. I mean, I think I'm very grateful to have you find time to speak to us today as a female leader in the industry. But aviation has historically been a male-dominated industry. I think the last data I had a look at from 2021, which was from IATA, showed 290 airlines, a proportion of women holding C-level roles was 6%, if I'm correct. Are you seeing a shift in the percentage of women in these leadership roles? How do you see the industry behaving? What are they doing? What still do they have to do in order to become, an industry that's really leading for female professionals?
There is a shift towards more female leaders in the aviation industry, and especially even flight crew. We're seeing a lot more pilots who are female pilots. Here at Dubai Airports, our head of Terminal 2, which is at DXB, which is one of our busiest terminals, is run by a female. So we also have a really strong female running one of our busiest terminals at the airport. So I think at Dubai Airports, we have an initiative called Dawn, which stands for Dubai Airport Women's Network. And it's a network that we set up to encourage and support both personal and professional growth for females. So I think initiatives like Dawn at Dubai Airports, which I'm sure other organisations are actually also implementing, is a way for us to support as a female network and female leaders like myself to support and encourage younger females in the organisation to grow both personally and professionally. So I think it's really important to have these networks in place for females, for them to continue to actually achieve their aspirations and change the dial in terms of having more females in senior leadership positions. It will take a while, but I think the intention and the focus is in the right place at the moment. And actually, again, it comes back to what we sort of mentioned earlier on. It's about inclusion and diversity. It's actually celebrating the fact that a female can bring a completely different perspective to the way that we actually operate as a business, and ultimately achieve better outcomes.
And I know you're personally quite passionate about mentorship and have done quite a lot of mentoring in your life. Do you think that mentorship is critical for women to be able to shift their roles in the industry?
I definitely think so. Like the mentoring that I have done, I get so pleased and I feel so rewarded when I see some of the junior team members that I have been mentoring over the last few years grow and develop and actually take on more senior positions. I think if anything, what mentorship brings is that it actually instills confidence in a lot of these young females, or females from different parts of the organisation. I don't mean to sound ageist when I say young, but I think working with another female who's actually gone through those experiences provides confidence for the mentee to be able to actually grow and know that they can grow and know that there is light at the end of the tunnel. So I think it's absolutely, for me, it's highly rewarding, and I think it's an important aspect of any woman's development in not only the aviation industry but any other industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, today we're talking about some really big themes. I mean, we've touched on diversity, we've touched on inclusion, We touched earlier a little bit on, technological transformation, and now we're talking about, equality actually, and that opportunity for women. So you are speaking from within the world's biggest airport, which is of course in Dubai, which is a city, and I would say even more so in the last 3 years, that has been on the world stage, representing itself as a city that is full of ambition, innovation, speed to change, really at the forefront of these big trends that we're touching on today. The title of the podcast is around purpose, purpose for us as leaders, for brands. What does this mean for the purpose of Dubai Airport being within the city of Dubai? And how do you ensure that your teams are embracing that? I know you mentioned Bring Your Dubai-ness as a campaign you're using internally earlier on, but what does the city mean for you as an airport, and how does that change your purpose?
So Dubai is a magical city, and as I mentioned before, it's such an ambitious city. So for us, I think our organizational culture is going to continue to focus on attracting talent, that on the basis that we reflect the city. So having this ambition of being the biggest, the best, the brightest is also our ambition as well. So a lot of our upcoming projects have their similar ambition to the city. Our ambition is to not only be the biggest airport in the world, but also to be the best. And we're going to do that by continuing to innovate, continuing to push the envelope, by doing things differently, by doing things bigger, by doing things more innovatively. But it's our people that's actually going to be the heart of how we actually do this. So when we talk about purpose, we have the similar purpose to Dubai, but the way that we actually want to achieve this is through our people.
And as a vice president of marketing, and I just love, the focus on your people as a service brand. But what does that mean for marketing today in aviation, in your role? How do you create marketing from within a city that is just, never sleeps? It is the center of the world, like you just said, magical. What's the impact on sort of marketing strategy and thinking in a role like yours?
Yeah, with marketing our marketing strategy is not too different or not too misaligned with what I've just mentioned before. So our as Dubai Airports is a brand which celebrates people and actually focuses on hospitality and service. The stories and the way that we actually continue to market our brand has to be around people. It has to be, and it's not, when I mean people, I don't mean the people only at Dubai Airport. It's about the whole DXB ecosystem. So our people spans the whole what we call the campus of DXB, which includes our airline partners, includes our government service partners, includes our ground handling partners. So this wide campus, this ecosystem, our partners are very much part of our people focus in regards to the marketing strategy for Dubai Airports. So sure, we're going to be developing terrific infrastructure for the future, but our marketing strategy for this year and definitely for the following years is going to be around people and service and all the different cultures and the different nationalities that actually make up this great experience that people have when they come through DXB.
Yeah. What an amazing story to be able to tell, right? One of the world's biggest airports on its way to being the best and just surrounded by the world's people, like you said, multicultural, multi-talented. And Dubai, it's shifting and its focus is changing all the time, definitely becoming a very globally competitive city, attracting talent. How have you seen that shift in terms of the talent that are moving to the city? And what does that mean for the evolution of organizational culture in the Middle East region? So the culture of new talent coming in versus Middle Eastern traditions or practices and ways. Have you seen the talent shift, and how is that changing organizations?
I think Dubai, again, if I kind of comment a little bit about Dubai as a city, so Dubai in the UAE is actually there's a lot of initiatives in place to attract talent to Dubai. And there's a lot of initiatives in place to actually make it easier for especially creative talent to be able to live and work here in Dubai. So I think that's great that as a city and a nation, there's some terrific initiatives that are in place to attract this level of talent. For us as an organization, we're going to continue to focus on attracting talent by having this inclusive and engaging workplace where people can bring their individualism to contribute to the success. So it's coming back to what we were saying before, is that to attract talent, we want to encourage people to bring their best, by being themselves to contribute to this organisation. And we believe that is what a lot of just through our research and working together with our HR partners, is that that's what a lot of young employees or new employees want, especially again as a result of COVID, this freedom to be able to work how they want to work, be themselves, and we believe that that's going to attract the best talent and actually contribute to the success of Dubai airports.
And you as a leader, Michelle, you've lived in Dubai for how many years now?
About 7 years now.
7 years. What keeps you there as a city? You've spoken so warmly of it today. What keeps you in Dubai beyond your work, but just as a lifestyle choice, as somewhere to live?
Yeah, what I love about Dubai is that it's such a harmonious place. You know, like I mentioned, we have 123 nationalities here just at Dubai airports alone. So you can imagine how many nationalities there are here in the city. So living in Dubai is that it's a harmonious place. We have so many cultures that coexist in a very positive, happy way. And I think it's this multiculturalism, this diversity, and this ambition for everybody who's here to be the best that they can be is what really excites me about living here in Dubai.
I think it's such a brilliant way to sort of begin to close the discussion, which is wherever you sit, whatever industry, whatever level you are in your organization, whatever specialism you're bringing to the city, there is this desire to progress, to think big, to innovate, and to change. And that definitely, you know, really taps into that purpose of the city itself. For you as a lead, as a vice president of marketing, what's going to be your one marker of success for the year ahead as you start to look at, you know, living and working with purpose as a female leader in aviation at the airport?
Well, that's a hard question if you say one marker of success.
You can have many.
I have many. I'm going to try and narrow it to one, but I'm going to try to squeeze another one in there, which we haven't talked about, but it's also very important. It's sustainability. So it's, you know, for me, a marker of success for this coming year and probably for many years is how can I contribute to the planet? How can I contribute to the health of the planet? So that is something that'll always be on my radar, and something that, you know, regardless of where I'm living, is going to be a marker of success, knowing I'm doing something for the planet, so I can leave it in a great place for my children and for many other generations to come. I think probably, you know, coming back to a sense of purpose, I think for me at an organizational level, organizational success for me is by creating more smiles on our customers. So at the end of the day, it's about, you know, how do our customers are the ones that we serve. So how can we create more smiles on the faces of our customers? And as a leader within this organization, within Dubai Airports, is that how can I create more smiles and happiness within my team? So having a happier, fulfilled team is a priority for me and is a marker of success.
Yeah. Well, I think today's discussion has been, as I touched on earlier, an encapsulation of so many world-changing trends and pieces of positive momentum that's going on in our workplaces all around the world today. When we talk about, you know, how does purpose drive growth in these multicultural organizations? We've looked today at diversity, inclusion, people, culture, and we've ended there talking about sustainability, which is, of course, on everybody's lips, particularly in industries where we travel. And there's so much positive transformation, you know, still ahead. And I know Dubai is committed to leading the way. So, Michelle Lee, I know you have a very busy schedule. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you today. And thank you very much for joining us on Unboxing What Matters.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for the invitation. Have a great day, Mimi.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Unboxing What Matters. Subscribe and follow us on social media to stay on top of all that's to come in the season ahead.